Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Roland and we're here to talk all things EV news in Australia and around the world. So, plenty of content this week. You can see all of the brands onto the right and let's get straight into it. So, first things first, Chargefox and Woolworths Everyday Rewards. So, for the ones that love points hacks, whether it's credit card points, everyday rewards points, Flybuys points, you guys are just about to increase the amount that you guys are going to get. So, what is the change? So you can see over here, you can now collect everyday rewards points when charging at Woolworths supermarkets. Now, what you can actually see in terms of, the earn rates is it's 1 everyday reward points for every $1 spent on charging at all Woolworths EV chargers available on Chargefox. So there's not a whole lot of these yet. They are continuing to expand. However, I do have a couple of suburbs that you can see based on state over here on the right hand side. So I've got a couple in New South Wales, some in Queensland, Victoria and Western Australia. So that's basically it's fantastic news, because if you guys are already charging there, then you also get bonus points. Now, disclaimer, I think that some of these sites actually have really slow AC charges, and some of these are actually much faster AC charges. So I've seen some that were even up to 22 kilowatt AC. I have also seen some that's 7 kilowatts AC. I know the one that it is in the Hills District, this Kellyville Grove one, I think off the top of my head, that was only 7 kilowatts AC. So not the fastest. However, it's good to know that if you guys are using it, you can also get points. So yeah, that's basically Woolworths and Everyday Rewards points. So I guess the ball is in the court of the likes of Bunnings if they're going to offer anything, because you can scan your Flybuys at Bunnings. Coles, of course, with Flybuys again. And then there was also talks of Audi. Are they going to do anything? We don't know. So if you guys have heard anything official, drop it in the comments below. And yeah, let's take the discussion there. Okay, let's get moving on. The next one here, we've got the Skoda Elroq. What do you guys think of this car? I think it actually looks quite nice. So it's roughly a 4.4 meter car. So you can see the dimensions over here, just under 4.5 meters. Two variants that's coming to Australia. You've got the Elroq 85 Select and the 130 years edition. The difference between these cars before on-road cost is $10,000, so $54,990 and $64,990. Here are the common specs between the two. So 82 kilowatt hour battery, 210 kilowatts of power, 0 to 100 in 6.6 seconds. You can see fast charging, actually not too bad, 175 kilowatts. And a WLTP claimed range of 529 kilometers. So you definitely could get in the 400s in real world scenario is my view. Now, what do you get when you upgrade for the $10,000? So I won't go through line by line everything that you guys get here. However, feel free to pause the screen and read through the entire list. For the $10,000 plus on-road costs, some of the ones that I feel like might be worth it or might make that jump worthwhile, let me talk you guys through. So heads-up display, power adjusting seats with massage functions, the 360 camera, powered tailgates, maybe the intelligent park assist, and I'm only thinking more about getting in and out of tight spaces, not necessarily parking, and then the Matrix LED headlamps with dynamic headlights. Matrix LED, in my eyes, if they work, they do work, I guess, better than your traditional ones. The ones I don't care too much about, free sunshades, because realistically, you could get tints, you could get sunshade as covers. The premium interior finishes, look, I haven't seen the material between the normal variation and the premium interior, so I really can't comment too much on that. But the 21-inch wheels, like realistically, the bigger wheels, yes, whilst they look nicer, you're going to get less range, so I really don't care too much about that. So what do you guys think? Have you already flagged interest for this car at your local Skoda dealer, and or are you guys definitely getting one? Love to hear from you guys, and keen to hear your thoughts on the shape itself, because yeah, as I said, I think it looks like a pretty decent car. It's got honestly decent specs. It's a good sized battery as well. So is this essentially the start of the entire Volkswagen group trying to actually claim the market share? So we'll have to see. Okay, anyways, that is all of the Skoda news that we have, so let's get moving on. So next we have the IM Motors presented by MG IM5. So, always a mouthful when we say all of this, but nonetheless, this car has now been ADR approved. And you can see on the right hand side here, there are 6 variants in total. So it's 2 key battery sizes, and basically they are rear-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and four-wheel drive. So you can see over here, 75 kilowatt hour you get in rear-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Lux. You've got then the bigger battery pack, which is also in rear-wheel drive. And again, you've got the rear-wheel drive model only, and you've got the Lux. And then on the last one here, it's the all-wheel drive or the four-wheel drive model, which again, with the 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, you've got that base model and Lux. What is the difference? Realistically, it comes down to the power. I haven't seen anything in terms of trim yet because the specs haven't been confirmed, so watch this space. I'll make sure I let you guys know. But the 75 kilowatt hour battery variants, you can see here, it's a rear motor and also rear wheel, 217 kilowatts. The 100 kilowatt hour one, 300 kilowatts. And then the all-wheel drive has 553. Now, something I've written here, odd comment that I've noted, because the 100 kilowatt hour EV four-wheel drive says maximum combined power output is 553 kilowatts. However, in the notes it says rear motor max output is 372 and the front is 200, which means a total of 572. So how does that work? That doesn't really add up. The math ain't mathin'. Anyways, anyone who specializes in, I guess, this field or is more knowledgeable, please feel free to educate all of us and let us know in the comments below. Either way, some specs in terms of the size of the car. It's actually a pretty big sedan. So it's 4.931 meters long, so 1960 wide and 1474 tall. So not a heaps tall car. Obviously it's a more low slung sedan, but yeah, it is a pretty big size for a sedan at 4.931. So to give you guys context, right, if you had to compare a Tesla Model Y, I don't know the Model 3 off the top of my head, but the Model Y is about 4.7. So this is 4.9. So yeah, and then you can see also some wheel specs over here, 19-inch for your standard variants, and your Lux variants definitely get the 20-inch wheels. Judging by looking at the image over here, I would say these ones potentially look like the 19s, but can't confirm. So all we can see as well here is that in this top spec here, it's 2,730 kilograms as GVM and TMS 2298 kilograms. So yeah, what do you guys think of the car? I think they are offering a lot of variations here, and it's going to be hard to see, or it's going to be hard to potentially work out, oh, what's what when you see them on the roads because of all the variations. The good side of things is for your car enthusiasts, especially like me, look at that. The stock power for this car, 553 kilowatts. So this is the one that apparently they're saying goes 0 to 100 in 2.74 seconds. Now I don't know if that's minus the 1 foot rollout or if they included that. So either way, it's roughly a 3-second car to 100. So that is quite impressive. And the one thing that we'll have to kind of work through in the future, I'm sure it's going to get mandated somehow in terms of the how, I don't know, is how do they manage people getting into or getting access to such powerful cars? Because that is a genuine problem for people who aren't as skilled in terms of their driving. So yeah, keen to hear from anyone if you guys have thoughts on that, but let's get moving on. So the IM5 was approved a couple of days ago. We had the IM6 literally approved just this afternoon. So it's really been a full week for MG. They're definitely trying to roll out this car soon. So the power specs, everything on the right hand side actually is pretty much exactly the same, obviously, except for the size of the vehicle and also the wheels. So in the IM5 you had 19-inch and 20. In this one you've got 20 and 21, and these are staggered sets of wheels, as you can see here, so different width in the front and the back. And then the other thing as well to take note is that over here you can see it's more of the typical sportback / SUV shape. So the IM5 is more of a sedan shape and the IM6 is more of the sedan hatch or sportback type shape. So I guess in the words of Tesla, I would call this one pretty much similar shape to the Model Y or even the Model X in terms of shape. And it still is a big car at 4.9 meters long. These cars are not 7-seaters, they are 5-seaters. And yeah, that's about it. What do you guys think? Have you guys ordered one, or have you guys submitted interest for one? There's no indication of pricing as far as I'm aware, but if I was a man that had to speculate, my view is the MG Cyberstar is their Halo pinnacle car. That's about $120,000. They're pitching this one as also a luxury type car, So it wouldn't surprise me if this is in the 6-figure range for the top spec, which means that with 6 variants in total, bringing it down, you should definitely be able to get something in the 80s or the 90s, is my guesstimate. So happy to hear what you guys think, but my guesstimate is it's going to be in the 80s all the way through to roughly 100. I'd of course love to see it down in the 70s. We'll have to watch this space. So that's my guesstimate. I'd love to hear from you guys on what your ones are too. Okay, let's keep moving on. Tesla FSD. The day has come. I don't know if I've made that snippet on the top right over here a little bit too small, so apologies, but this was our good friend Riz tagging us from a post that Sawyer Merritt actually put up. So this was at 3:57 p.m, which meant that Sawyer would have posted this at 2:57 p.m. today. So just before 3 p.m. today, Sydney time. It is pretty much the assisted or supervised FSD in Melbourne, Australia, being driven. I did not expect this. I knew that they were hiring some FSD type drivers, but I didn't realise that it'd be here like this quick. This honestly surprised me, and I know that as Australians, for the ones that have been into it and waiting for this, you guys have been waiting for a long time. I get that, but this really caught me off guard. Anyways, there is a 2-minute video that goes through the entire thing, driving through the streets of Melbourne. Full disclosure, I have not watched this video as yet, so let's watch it together. So if you guys don't want to watch this, skip ahead. It's just under 2 minutes long, and you can skip over through to the next one. Otherwise, I'm going to hit play. I'm going to go quiet, and then let's see how it performs. It just did a hook turn. So distance wise, I feel like it's keeping okay. Wow. Now there was a disclaimer that was put at the start, so I might actually just quickly start and stop that and see what that one said. Okay, so it says here, FSD supervised engineering test drive in a prototype vehicle driven by a safety driver, demonstration purposes only, and yeah, future feature activation subject to development and regulatory approval. But there you have it. That's the first video that's been leaked. I'm honestly speechless. Like, it's performed so well there. It's done a hook turn. I've only done that a couple of times in my whole life, and I still didn't get the concept, but, you know, it did it. So, great work, Tesla, and, yeah, I don't know if you're pro FSD or not, but just the fact that it's driving itself like that, I think it's pretty amazing from a technology standpoint. Anyways, that's Tesla FSD, so we'll show you guys more news when we hear of more. So let's keep moving on. Okay, now, a couple of weeks ago, you may recall that I showed you guys this slide, which was BYD saying that they were going to enter the Japanese market via building a new car called something in, well, actually we don't know the name, but it is their first Kei-class car, which is a small car that is no longer than 3.4 meters long and no wider than 1.48 meters. Anyway, the news is it has been spotted, so here you go. This looks like for the Japanese car enthusiasts, reminds me of the Nissan Cube. Anyway, so you can see over here, features hallmark design elements like rear sliding doors, dual A-pillar layout, and it's saying here roughly 20 kilowatt hour battery, so very, very small, 180 kilometer WLTC range. So I don't really think you'll get anywhere near that 180 kilometers since it's WLTC. I think realistically you're looking probably about the 120 kilometer mark. That's just my personal opinion. 100 kilowatt fast charging, which actually I think is pretty good considering the car of that size and the battery of that size, so it's not too bad. And they've also got an efficient heat pump HVAC system, which is great to see. And in terms of the price, just shy of $26,500. So imagine that. Now, obviously this car is not going to be coming to Australia because they've already ruled out the original K-class, or actually they originally ruled out the Seagull, which isn't even a K-class car for Australia, saying it was too small. I don't know how it's going to handle from a safety aspect, but if it ever is a car that you guys want to see here, you're probably going to have to import it yourself via the SEV scheme, which is the Specialist and Enthusiast Vehicle Scheme. So apparently that's one of 4 options to get your cars into Australia that's less than 25 years old. So who knows? Now, we don't have the specific month on when this is coming out, but supposedly it's going to be ready for exporting into Japan in the late 2026. So we're pretty much almost mid 2025. So I'd say roughly maybe 15-16 months at the bare minimum before we can see these on the roads over there. But yeah, if you guys are interested, let me know, because I totally am, and I will ensure that I give you guys all the news on this car when we hear it. Okay, let's see what we've got next. We've got Audi e-tron GT Quattro. So, on the right side over here, there were originally 3 variations of the new and upcoming e-tron GT, which is the S e-tron GT, RS e-tron GT, and RS e-tron GT Performance. Crazy big performance figures over here, as with the 0 to 100 kilometer times. So basically, this new version is actually the new base model, which is actually getting inserted up here. So they're saying here the updated range is due to arrive mid-2025, slated for a late June, early July release. That's fantastic, not too far away, but I think these release times are going to potentially mean that you're going to have more run-out sales for the current one. So watch this space for sales, guys. Either way, talking price. So from 108,900 euros, which is roughly $188,000. 105 kilowatt hour battery, 622 WLTP range, 320 kilowatt DC fast charging, absolutely amazing. And 370 kilowatts of power normally, but if you do have launch control, 430, which means a 0 to 100 kilometer sprint in 4 seconds flat. Now, if you guys aren't too familiar, at the moment, in this current spec, the run out spec, all of these ones here are the new ones. You've got your e-tron GT and you've got your RS e-tron GT only. I know that the RS e-tron GT does 0 to 100 in 3.3 seconds at the moment. So actually what that means is, in the new models, even the S e-tron GT is pretty much on par at 3.4 as the RS e-tron GT. So once you step into the new RS, it's going to be heaps quicker, and then you've got the performance model on top. So they are really bringing the heat in terms of all of the performance coming soon. But the big question is, will the car sell when it comes to Australia? So watch this space. I'll keep you guys posted when we hear more. Okay, next up we have news on the Ferrari EV. So I've shown you guys spy shots before, and now we've got some news here that unfortunately they're saying it won't be revealed in October as it was previously advised, and it's going to be revealed next year ahead of first customer deliveries later in 2026. So apparently it's going to be part of a 3-stage global launch for the mold breaking EV. And yeah, so it looks like It's going to be revealed, or the exterior is going to have a reveal in between March to May 2026, and then they're saying here late 2026 means October in terms of deliveries. So what do you guys think of the shape? I think the front looks pretty cool. I'm not so convinced about the back at this point in time, and it's also funny considering it's an EV how they've actually put fake exhaust pipes over here. But watch this space, guys. When I find out more, we'll always let you guys know. But this will be a very interesting halo car to see. And the one thing that I'm really keen to see is this Ferrari going to have an extremely big depreciation similar to what the Porsche Taycan has? Because even if you buy a Porsche 911, yes, it's an ICE car, that car will hold value so much better than a Taycan, especially over a couple of years. So interesting times ahead. Anyways, let's move on. So let's talk Mercedes-AMG. So Mercedes-AMG, they have a new prototype EV. It is a 4-door EV that's apparently going to debut in June, and it's going to take on the Porsche Taycan and the Audi e-tron GT. Those are the couple of competitors, so you know it's going to be a low-slung, super fast car, as you can see there. And the thing that I think looks pretty awesome, the headlights and the tail lights in terms of the specific design. The I don't even know what you call it. It's basically the Mercedes logo. But I just think it looks pretty cool, and they've got those integrated into the round tail lights over here as well. So watch this space. That's literally all the news that we have, and very interesting and exciting times ahead. Alright, speaking of interesting vehicles, the new XPENG next generation P7, which is codenamed E29, has just been shown. What do you guys think of that? To me, that reminds me of, I think it was the Polestar 6. Super sleek car, low slung. It's got the LED lights that goes all across the top and down. Very sharp lines. Very, very cool. Anyways, you can see over here, based on what you guys can see, fastback profile, full width tail light, revised lighting signature, flush door handles, frameless side mirrors, retractable rear spoiler. Apparently as well, they're saying here, they are going to follow the Tesla approach. Now this is not confirmed, but they're saying potentially they are going to be solely relying on cameras. So that's very, very interesting to see. And then the other even more exciting news is in February, XPENG actually filed a trademark application for the P7 Ultra, which means there's potentially a super fast model coming. Now, the last point over here is they're saying the E29 is expected to debut in the third quarter of 2025, possibly at the Guangzhou Auto Show. And in terms of power, nothing confirmed. However, the outgoing or the current P7i offers up to 348 kilowatts of output. It's dual motor all-wheel drive, and it's got a CLTC range of 702. So you got to minus a fair bit because it's this special Chinese range, CLTC. It's only the historical used to measure cars in China. It's based similar to the NEDC. They're just figures that are never achievable because it's in a perfect world situation. So either way, I would say 348 kilowatts is the existing outgoing one, so it's probably going to, or it needs to actually match that, if not be better, considering this is going to be the new generation. And with 702 kilometers CLTC, I'm going to say 500. That's my guesstimate for real world figures, so it's got to do better than that. Either way, exciting times as always, and I'll keep you guys posted when I hear more. Alright, let's talk spotted vehicles. This week we have the Genesis GV60 Magma. So you guys may or may not remember, the Magma was the super bright orange one that was debuted at the Goodwood Festival. I think it was mid last year maybe. Either way, that car has been confirmed to go into production, and this is basically it being spotted testing at the Nürburgring, or the Green Hell. And how do we know it's the Magma? We know because it is a super bright orangey color, which you can see in the disc brakes over here. That's literally it. So no new dates or specs or anything, but we do know it's currently being tested. And yeah, that's all the news that we've got in terms of spotted or spied cars this week. Okay, let's talk end of financial year. So I did make a separate video last week in relation to the end of financial year sales. Hope you guys did enjoy that. If you do, let me know down below. Either way, we covered off some deals from Jeep, Geely, Leapmotor and MG. there'll be another video this week. Basically, we've got some additional cars that we're adding to the mix on Kia, Ford and Deepal. And yeah, happy savings, happy hunting. If there's a specific car you guys want to look for, or if there's any cars that you think you're interested in that you want me to try to find out more information, leave it in the comment box below. And that takes us to the end of the video. So if you guys have watched to the entire way up until here, thank you so much. You guys are legends. You guys are what actually keeps the channel growing. If you haven't liked it, please give it a like. If you haven't subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you guys get notified every time I talk to you guys about the news or anything new. And that's about it. We'll see you guys for more content soon. Thanks again, and yeah, take care.